Thanks for tuning in to watch The Ordinary Filmmaker. It's Wednesday, December the 1st, 2021. Canon firmware update 1.5 for the Canon EOS R5 offers an awful lot of enhancements. Let's get to them right away, as I'm sure you're super excited. Now, actually, before I do that, there's one thing I do want to mention. I've had the Canon EOS R5 since it was released, and I can tell you that the autofocus system has introduced some, shall we say, challenges since I had the camera when it first came out. So for example, if I'm filming a subject and it loses eye autofocus or face autofocus because the subject turns, I've had a few situations in normal outdoor light where the camera's pulsed a little bit due to the autofocus system not sure what to do. And this has also happened in low light. Well, that's apparently been addressed. Canon now provides support for torso detection. So if you do lose focus with the eyes or the face, for example, the subject turns around, it will lock onto the torso so you don't have to worry about, like I had, it pulsing. But also, as we're coming up to winter, especially here in the north, we're wearing helmets, we're wearing goggles, we're wearing all sorts of headgear. And if you're thinking, well, why are you wearing a helmet? Are you going to be racing? No. You see, a lot of people in winter up here in the north get around using snowmobiles or sleds, and you have to put a helmet on if you're going to be driving one of these things. But also, if hair comes down around the face, or if you have other obstructions, the autofocus system is going to better be able to hold on to face detection as well as eye detection if you're within that range. So that's really, really good news. So improvements to eye autofocus, head detection, and torso detection. And of course, if there's obstruction, so if you're wearing goggles, wearing a helmet, or your hair is just sort of coming down over your face. But also, this is kind of a big one. We get vehicle detection. So just as now you can choose animal, human, or no detect, I think not no detection, you can choose no priority. That's what it is. We also have vehicle as an option now. But some of the wordage here seems a little bit odd, to say the least. Detection may not be possible for ordinary passenger cars, bicycles, or for motorcycles performing stunts or kicking up dirt and dust. So I know what you're thinking, well, if it doesn't do passenger cars, that's kind of 95% of all the cars out there, with trucks being a great majority of the rest. And yes, that is true. This update is designed for motorsports. It's designed for car racing, motorcycle racing. So you're going around an oval or you're doing various different types of tracks. That's what this is designed for. And if you're wearing a helmet inside a car, well, that will also help. And you can see how that carries over into the winter gear. They're augmenting that, what they had to design and develop for the auto racing to be able to also work if we're just walking around in winter with some sort of a helmet on, or whether we're wearing a toque, some sort of hat, or something else on our face that kind of obstructs things a little bit. So yes, the vehicle detection isn't designed for you if you just got a brand new Corvette or a Mustang and you want to drive around and you're going to set it to vehicle detection. Now, it might do a decent job, but that's really not what it's designed for. But still, a huge improvement. And if you were really excited by the Nikon Z9, well, this is an update that's going to give you feeling a little bit more excited, because now we do have vehicle detection. But keep in mind, the Nikon Z9, it also gave us, motorcycles, planes, pretty well any type of vehicle, and they didn't have any caveat saying, oh yeah, and passenger cars, sorry, we don't do that. So we'll just have to wait and see if Canon tweaks this a little bit and gives us more capabilities in terms of the autofocus system. Accuracy of the autofocus system matters to me an awful lot. I use it here in the studio, and I use it in my run and gun stuff. And as I said earlier in this video, I have had trouble with the autofocus system maintaining lock onto the eyes or head, especially if the head is turning out of view from the camera. And I shot a lot of video over the last year. Last Halloween, I was out shooting in really, really low light with an ISO of 25,600, and the Canon R5 barely missed a shot. This Halloween, I felt like I was struggling a good 25% of the time. It just didn't seem to want to get focused, or if the head turned a little bit, it would just seem to pulsate, not knowing what to do. So I really do hope this firmware update is improved in that regard in terms of the accuracy and reliability, because I do feel it's taken a step backwards. So what else does this firmware update also provide? As I mentioned, it does provide body or torso detection, but it will also track it continuously as well. And it adds support for a manual white balance, which is really, really handy in certain situations. And it eliminates that center press operation of the multi-control to prevent accidentally transferring images during FTP transfer. It adds the ability when using the EOS utility or browser remote for remote shooting with 2 cards inserted to set the recording method and select which card can be recorded to. And one of the things I found the most annoying about the last firmware update we got, firmware 1.4, I've set my camera to pretty well record to both card slots all the time. However, because I'm using an SD card slot in the SD card slot, when I go to shoot 4K 120, I have to go into the menu system, disable that, and go to just standard, shoot in 4K 120, and what I always forget to do is afterwards set it back to dual recording to both card slots. I wish it would just say, hey, you know what, flash the timer in red like it was doing, but then allow me to record and just record to the CF Express card. I get it, you can't record to both, but don't force me to go into the menu system every single time to tell it what to do. That really should be automatic. If I'm recording to both card slots at the same time, it should be able to tell me and say, okay, look, on screen, can't record to the SD card slot, recording to CF Express. Some little message or some little icon indicating that in red. And as you can see here from 8 to 15, there's an awful lot of other added features. It adds suppressed lower frame rate to smooth in display performance, enabling the shooting screen to be displayed with less drop frame rates even in dark locations. And of course it adds support for that new RF 5.2mm f2.8 dual fisheye lens. And there's some other FTP enhancements there, but it also optimizes control of in-body image stabilization when using specific EF lenses not equipped with their own image stabilization. Case in point, the Canon EF the Canon EF 50mm f1.8. And of course, like other firmware updates, I highly recommend reading the release notes that come with this. This is a cumulative update, so if you have skipped 1.4, you're on 1.3 or 1.2, 1.5 will bring you up to the latest. You don't have to install each individual update. Also, if this isn't absolutely essential for your work, I would consider waiting a day or two or even up to 2 weeks to see if any issues do come out. Issues are rare, but if you remember back to, what was it, 1.3 on the R6, in some situations it blocked the R6 for at least several minutes. So it is caution to wait. I haven't even installed it on my R5 right now. And why is that, you might ask? Well, despite Canon releasing the release notes, as you've seen here, we don't yet have the firmware available for download. Now, you might be able to download it right now because as of recording, this was probably about 2 hours ago or more. So check Canon USA, Canon Japan, Canon Europe, Canon UK, because it doesn't always release at the same time to each site. And as the sun is setting on North America, it's already set in Europe, I'd be looking to Canon Japan or Australia to drop the firmware update first. So the firmware update is supposed to drop within the next 20 hours. So by this time tomorrow, guarantee the firmware update will drop. And who knows, maybe I'm suspecting that by around 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock Eastern time, or New York and Toronto time, that we should have this firmware available for us to be able to install on our Canon EOS R5s. I personally am going to do it as soon as it's available, because I think this is a big update. When it comes to autofocus, I rely on it an awful lot for my run and gun work. It's truly, truly important. When I was out shooting the review for this guy here, I've forgotten the name already, Viltrox, the Viltrox 85mm f1.8. I was also shooting along Tim, who had the R5 in this lens on, and I was shooting with the Canon R5 with a 50mm f1.2, very fast, and I had some of those problems. And I had the problems when I put the Viltrox on too. And again, I was shooting in the bright sun at around 2 o'clock, 12 o'clock, noon, with this thing here, and it pulsed a little bit, and I thought it might have been the lens. But then when I took the R5 out the next day with the 50mm f1.2, I realized, yeah, no, it doesn't look like it's related to this. And a few of you have even asked me, Simon, how's the autofocus system? Is it as reliable and trustworthy as it was on day one? And I had to say, no, it isn't. It's a little bit less reliable. But as far as my channel goes, I'd say over the past 600 videos, I might have had autofocus lock or screw up a total of 3 times out of 600 videos. Oh, one last thing, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Don't click off yet. It really does help this channel grow, and I take it as a virtual thanks and a pat on the back. Whew. Wow, it's just absolutely crazy here today. I was actually going to take the Christmas tree upstairs. It's the 1st of December and get that all set up. My son's upstairs. He's working on his reading and writing, so he texts his mother on the iPad. And I was going to get the Christmas tree set up now, but I'm going to postpone that till maybe Thursday or Friday, because I also have another appointment around 7 o'clock, which doesn't give us a lot of time for dinner. So you're getting this video instead of me setting up the Christmas tree with my son. How about that? But don't worry, it's not like I'm sacrificing anything. He couldn't care less whether we do it today or tomorrow. What he really cares about is that Christmas calendar where he gets to open up the doors from December the 1st to the 25th. And it's a Lint one. So you got those really tasty candies. So that's what he's waiting for me to come upstairs. So I'm going to finish recording this video right now. But a special thanks to all of you for supporting this channel. I also want to thank you over Boxing Week. A lot of you use my affiliate links for B&H and Amazon as well, and it's really made a huge difference. I just got that Manfrotto tripod here today, and I was going to set it up here as my studio tripod. You know what I did? I opted not to. I do find that the 504X aluminum, or the 504X Manfrotto video tripod with aluminum tripod is just that much more polished. It's so much easier to set up, remove the camera, and connect it back up. And the way and the placement of the tightener for tightening the quick release plate onto, sorry about this, to tighten the quick release plate onto the video tripod itself, it's in a better location on the 504, so I'm not fiddling with it, whereas on the other one, I have to monkey around with it. It's also lighter, so I'm going to try it out in the field, and if I like the other one, it's just as good enough for me being out in the field, well then, yeah, I'll use the lighter one. So for now, the 504X video tripod, or video head with aluminum tripod, is going to be my default in the studio. I've been using this for, what, the better part of a year now. I love the Manfrottos, and I know some of you have said that you have had issues with them. If I do have any issues, I'm going to let you know. I'm not working for Manfrotto in any way whatsoever. I don't get any special consideration from them. They don't even know I exist. And when I tried to reach out to them, they completely ignored me. So as always, it's not about working with companies. It's about providing you with honest reviews of the stuff that I use. I don't just put out a review of something. I keep updating you as time goes by. Like somebody just asked me about the Pair Gear 512 gigabyte card. And I told that person that I still continue to use it along with the Angel Bird, and I haven't had any issues regarding video use in any way whatsoever. So, and of course the Angel Bird, the 2 terabyte, which I've been using for well over a year, again, no issues with that whatsoever at all. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. We'll see you again soon.